A Canadian female boxer had to withdraw from a championship bout after discovering that she was put up against a dude. Now, there are many outlets talking about this one today, but this one's from the Daily Mail. Female boxer withdraws from Canadian tournament after being told her rival was transgender within an hour's notice, leaving her fearing for her safety. Now, who else would you, I don't know, think would be eligible for having such a valid opinion on this other than a doctor? This is Dr. Katia Bissonnette. She was the boxer who withdrew from the 2023 Provincial Golden Glove Championship in Victoriaville, Quebec, after learning she was due to compete against Mia Walmsley, who is a transgender, someone who has never fought in the female leagues before. So you don't even know what you're going up against. Women shouldn't have to bear the physical and psychological risks brought by a man's decision regarding his personal life and identity, Bissonnette told Reduxx. We're going to get into the Reduxx article in just a minute here. There should be two categories, biological male and female, and that's it. Well, some people are arguing for a third category, and we're going to get into that later in the video. Now, this is Joe Rogan, someone who comments on this stuff all the time. He's a professional commentator. He's also a MMA fighter himself. So I think he would know a thing or two about this. Now, this is a controversial clip from his show when he was talking to Dr. Deborah So, who is also an expert on sex, who is on his show talking about The End of Gender, her book that she wrote. This is a little clip from that.
But have you been mobbed before? You have.
Oh, yeah.
What's been the worst?
Oh, one of the big ones was about a trans fighter.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was a hilarious one.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you guys can kiss my Whoa! You're out of your mind. You guys are out of your mind if you think that a man who has been a man for 30 years and has taken female hormones for 2 is the same. Mm-hmm. You put Brock Lesnar, chop his dick off and put him in a dress. That guy's going to maul through the women's heavyweight division like nothing you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
Because we're built different, and it's just a fact. And anyone who tries to argue that is crazy. And
I'd say so. I would say so. Now, the article from, and this is the one from Reduxx, Canada female boxer withdraws from competition after being matched against male fighter, biologically male fighter. She had this to say in the article. I came down from my hotel room to head towards the room where the boxers were warming up. My coach suddenly took me aside and told me he received information by text message, which he had then validated, that my opponent was not a woman by birth. He did not have any other additional information, she said. While information on Walmsley is limited, Bissonnette says she has absolutely no history of fighting against women in Canadian tournaments, suggesting his identification into women's sports was recent. Walmsley is originally from Australia, but moved to Canada around 2 years ago to attend Concordia University. Walmsley would have boxed as a man in Australia, Bissonnette says. In Quebec, on his file is mentioned that he has 0 fights as a woman. Since moving to Canada, Walmsley has been involved in political activism at university level as master's student and reaching assistant in the philosophy department. The recent interview with Walmsley shows he has an overtly masculine appearance. And while the clip is available on YouTube, so you can see who this individual is.
Claiming the school isn't doing enough to protect its students.
After a number of incidences, including a letter...
This is the individual. And the irony of this is this person was campaigning against sexual violence. Hear this.
Concordia University student organizations are saying enough is enough. They walked out of a committee to draft a new sexual violence policy last week.
Went on to include some sexual violence of their own. This is the individual who's contesting as a woman in the championships in in Quebec as we see it now. Now, this is interesting, and well, this is terrible actually for this competitor, because this would, the winner of this bout would then go on to fight in Canadian bouts moving forward. But this is, I don't even know what to say to this. Joe Rogan sums this up better when talking with another MMA fighter in the women's division on his show.
Have no idea how sports work. It's those are the people that just want inclusiveness, and they just want everyone to be okay. And maybe this is the world I'm looking for. I'm looking towards a world where everyone's included. Yeah, good. Have a transgender league. Sure. Have a transgender division. No, I'm cool with that. I'll be happily support them. But you're pretending that that's a woman. And it's not. It's a male who's transitioning to a woman. You have an XY chromosome. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
I'm 100%. If a woman says, I want to fight a transgender woman, okay. I'm 100%. That's fine. Yeah. But like for leagues to recognize that this is the same thing and like to say, like, how would you feel if all of the UFC's weight classes in the women's division were dominated by transgender women?
I would feel like there were some... I feel like I should not say something.
Right.
I feel like I'm going to get caught up saying something.
Yeah, let me talk for you. It's bullshit.
Whoa.
It's bullshit. Whoa. Right? Yeah. You don't have to say anything.
I would feel like I'd be thrown under the bus for saying anything at all is the thought there. And absolutely certain for sure. Epoch Times reporting on this. The Golden Gloves competition is the first stage of qualification for the Canadian Championships. Epoch Times reached out to the Quebec Olympic Boxing Federation, which is the organizing body of the competition, but didn't hear back by publication time. The FQBO president told Radio Canada that the delayed notice to Bissonnette stemmed from a recommendation by the Boxing Canada not to disclose the transgender status of Mia Walmsley. She said the reasons behind this suggestion include concerns that it could contravene safe sport regulations, constitute defamation, and expose the transgender person. Not worried about the safety of a biological woman fighting against someone with tremendous strength disparity there. It is just ridiculous. Now back to the City TV News article. Following Bissonnette's withdrawal, Walmsley issued a statement to the press accusing her of outing her. Where are we at with this? I don't know what pronouns I'm supposed to use. What'll get me in trouble on YouTube. So YouTube, bear with me if you're reviewing this one. Warning that similar actions would have negative impact on female athletes. Why would it have an impact on other female athletes? Of course, rather than turning to me, my coach, or the Quebec Olympic Boxing Federation for more information, she decided to turn directly to the media to out me, wrote Walmsley. This kind of behavior puts athletes at risk of being excluded or receiving personal attacks based on hearsay. I'm afraid that this type of accusation could eventually be used to delegitimize athletes in the women's category and justify arbitrary invasive regulations. Now, more people are calling for regulations to make a transgender category all of its own. If this is such a big thing happening these days, it seems like a contagion to me. But hey, if this is a big thing happening these days, we should have their own category. Women are fighting back against the trans takeover of sports. I'll leave this article in the description down below. You can go check it out for yourself. But this is happening all over the place. This is April Hutchinson. She's a heavy lifter in Canada, powerlifting, part of the powerlifting team, and was expelled, I believe. There's a Toronto Sun article. Powerlifting is a pure strength sport, says Hutchinson told UK broadcaster Piers Morgan on an October interview. Biological males have a 60 to 70% advantage over females. It's disheartening that I'm the one being punished for speaking the truth. And what is the punishment? Female powerlifter says she's banned for ripping transgender rivals' advantage. April Hutchinson says she faces a 2-year ban by the sport's national sanctioned body after criticizing her record-breaking transgender athlete competing against her. This is ridiculous. And they went further. Powerlifter was removed from the Museum of London exhibit after comments on trans athletes. And I mean, it's just obvious. This is just obvious. You get a dude in the sport, someone who was a dude their whole life. Yeah, they're going to totally just school the competition in this. Now, many people are trying to justify this based on whatever, all the politics of this. Adam Ruins Everything was on Joe Rogan's podcast and ruined his own arguments even in this. And we'll just have a listen here.
I have a friend who has a trans kid. Don't know the kid's exact age, but we're in the age range that we're talking about. And he's explained that my child from a very young age consistently said, I am a girl, and has never contradicted themselves, never changed their mind. And so the humane thing and the thing that he felt was good to do as a parent was to embrace that choice on his child's part, right? And yeah, that's
embrace that choice, meaning hormonally.
I shouldn't even phrase it as a choice, like embrace that identity.
But it is a choice, right? I mean, if you're choosing to add hormones to a child's body, that's a choice.
It's a choice blockers. It's a choice on the part of the parent. It's not a choice on the part of the child to in the same way that being gay isn't a choice. Yeah.
Okay, but if that's who they are, if they think that they're a girl, why do you have to give them hormones to make them more of a girl?
Great point.
Because I'm sorry, can you expand on the question?
It's a simple question. If you say that the child thinks it's a girl, so you're going to give the child hormones.
Mm-hmm.
If the child thinks it's a girl, let it be a girl. You don't have. Why are you adding hormones? If you're shooting hormones into a child and you're affecting the child's development, you're saying that's not a choice. That's nonsense. Of course it's a choice. You're choosing to chemically change this child's body. You're choosing to inject things into this child's body on a regular basis that are going to radically affect the physical development of their body.
Yeah.
And you're saying that this isn't a choice. Well, it's definitely a choice to do that.
So what trans people express, and again, I'm not an expert. This is from me talking to my trans friends and seeing what.
Well, I'll let you watch the reply I'll put the link in the comments down below, or in the description down below. He doesn't really have an argument beyond that, except he goes into the suicide rates, and that's where he ends that. Now, there is a solution to all this madness, and it's quite simple, put forward here by this Twitter account. Every sport that has female and male categories must have a transgender category. Hey, why not? Doesn't that sound like something that could happen? Well, it is something that's happening. From September, athletes with birth sex of male who are transgender or non-binary must compete in the new open category for all swimmers in Swim England's licensed events. Athletes with birth sex of female have their own protected category. That's called the women's category. That's correct. Now, this isn't only happening there. It went worldwide. CNN even announcing that the World Aquatics launches an open category for transgender athletes at Swimming World Cup. It turns out a bunch of them didn't want to join that. They all still wanted to be in the female category. I wonder why that is. I really, really wonder why that is. Leave a comment in the comment section down below if you think you know why that might be. ICC also bans transgender women from elite cricket to protect their integrity and safety of the cricket athletes over playing the game of cricket. I'm not a big cricket follower, but Catherine Deves on Twitter saying this person is a man. This person's not banned from playing elite cricket. He's just not eligible for the female category because man can't play in the men's category unless it's not good enough for the to be elite. Women's sports are not a backup plan for second-rate sportsmen, and that seems to be what we've been seeing lately. Anyway, I'd love to hear what you guys think of this whole thing. Leave a comment in the comment section down below, but I would definitely like to see the women's boxing championship to be against women against a woman. Biologically, women, the reason for these categories ever in the first place is because women biologically have a disadvantage to men, or else there would be no categories as such. Just like we have weight categories in fighting, we have to have men and women categories, and it's largely to do with the disparity between women and men when it comes to strength. Anyway, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trekking.